Thanks for joining me. We're going to get hands-on with AI, and we're going to build a smart feature using into a Drupal site with zero code. And for this presentation, most of these slides are decorative. The slides that aren't, I'll describe. I'll explain what's on them, and that's mostly for folks that are out there that might have visual impairment or something like that. I'm a digital strategy leader. Come on in, grab a little card. If you want a monkey card, you can have one of those too. I'm a digital strategy leader, an AI advocate, and neurodiversity champion with deep experience in accessibility, inclusive design, and enterprise transformation. I've led AI-powered innovation at Pfizer, where I helped scale global platforms and streamline digital operations. Today, I serve as an AI ambassador for amazee.ai, and I contribute to the Drupal strategic initiative as a marketing specialist, where I'm helping shape the future of open source AI integration. I also serve on the board of Drupal Colorado and regularly speak on topics like AI ethics, digital inclusion, and neurodiversity in tech. At the heart of my work is a simple goal: to use technology, especially AI at this point, to build more accessible, equitable, and human-centered digital experiences for everyone. This session is a mini version of a full-day training that I've done several times. The next time that I'm scheduled to do it is August 26th in Denver. So if you'd like to attend, it'll be happening the first day of Drupal Camp Colorado. And what we're going to do today is we're going to spin up a Drupal CMS environment using the amazee.ai private AI provider. We'll also use a few key modules and create a simple automator together. So at the end of all of this, those that want to participate on their computers will have built something that actually works. So this is a session where I really do want you to have your laptops out. I really am going to want you to be looking at them and doing things. And I promise it's not going to be hard. It's easy. And while the instances are coming into being, I'll talk a little bit about some core AI concepts, and then we'll work into the live workshop where we'll build that smart feature together. Then we'll go into a group brainstorm and around different features that you might want to build with DrupalAI. And finally, we'll wrap up with a little bit of question and answer. Hopefully, we'll have time. So before we go on, I promised that I would tell a little story about the monkey card and how that came into being. About in 2011, DrupalCon was in Chicago, and one of the companies that was doing sponsorship is Palantir, which is a well-known Drupal company. Not the Palantir that it's a smaller company. And they did this great party at the Natural History Museum there. And I found myself, I'm neurodivergent, and I get overwhelmed by crowds pretty easily. And I sort of wandered off on my own because they were letting us go anywhere that we wanted in the museum. And I found myself in the primate section, and I pulled out a napkin, and I drew that little monkey. And then about a year ago, I found myself along with about maybe 800 other per at Pfizer being laid off at the same time. And I thought to myself, well, what can I do that's Drupal related but is unexpected and would be a good image on a card? And so I pulled out that napkin, and I actually did a real drawing of it. So that's the reason we got the little monkey card. All right, so before we go on, can I get a show of hands, those of you that feel like right now, if I were to ask you to build something using DrupalAI, you could do it? All right, so we've got 1, 2, 1.5-ish, 2.5-ish. Okay. Hopefully at the end of this, when I ask that question again, everybody will be putting up their hand. So what I'd like you to do is open up your laptops, and we're going to kick off creation of our demo environments, and we'll talk about other things while they are cooking. what you're going to want to do is go to drupal.org/AI/demos and go through the form there. The red arrows are the only fields that you really need to fill out. So first name, last name, email address, the region that you want to be in, and the experience. You want to choose advanced Drupal skills, and then you need to prove that you're not a robot. Grab a little card. If you want a monkey card, you can have one of those too. The little card, if you do the bit.ly link there, you'll get real quick on what we're too, because it's hands-on.
Want to look?
Camel case.
Which one?
Advanced Drupal skills.
No, the Wi-Fi.
Oh, the Wi-Fi.
It's like
I took a picture, yeah, I have a picture of it too.
Sorry.
should say something student one.
It's FTC student one,
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
and then success
Okay.
is.
Let me know when you've got when put up your hand when you've got the little thing saying that it's cooking for you.
What was the password for the Wi-Fi?
Success is for me camel case, uppercase S. It's nice being everyone knows what camel case is.
Which I was told yesterday, this is Pascal case.
Oh, is it?
The first character is capitalized.
Son of a gun. Learn something new every day.
Thank you.
This one day ahead of you.
All right, so we're going to be using a few prompts. These are set up as gists, and I've got the links there, but they are on the document that little card is associated with. So if you use the QR code or you do the bit.ly / DrupalAI, it'll bring you to a document that'll have these prompts. There are going to be 2 prompts there, plus a complicated and boring test document that we'll use at the end to demonstrate the automator that we're going to build together. And then there's a link to the amazee.ai provider as well. And so when we get a little bit further in, we'll just want to make sure that you've got those links handy so we can get to the gists. All right. So let's take a brief dive into some concepts that are key to understanding cogs that make AI systems work to begin with. And I'm just going to go through a few concepts. First is large language models. So large language models are advanced AI systems trained on massive databases of text to understand, generate, and manipulate human language. You could almost think of them as autocomplete on steroids. RAG databases, RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and RAG is a technique that combines vector-based retrieval systems with a large language model. And the idea is that you pull in relevant external information at query time and feed it into the LLM so it answers based on up-to-date or domain-specific data. We'll go in a little bit into how it works in a graph in a second, or in a flowchart in a second, but basically in the retrieval, you pull documents or data chunks from a vector database using similarity search or vectors. We'll talk about similarity search in a minute. And you augment that by attaching retrieved content to the user's prompt. And then you feed the whole thing back into the large language model, which generates the response. So a vector database stores what are called vector embeddings. And those are mathematical representations of data, like text or images, into what's called high-dimensional space. These embeddings make it possible to perform similarity searches based on meaning, not exact keywords. So unlike, say, Elasticsearch, where you have to set up a bunch of a bunch of synonyms in order to match things up. LLMs can do this just out of the box. High dimensional space refers to many more dimensions than we normally understand. So if you think about 1D being a line, right? 2D is a flat surface like a sheet of paper. 3D is the world that we live in. And high dimensional space can be like 384 dimensions. It could be 768 dimensions. It could be 1,536 dimensions. So they're vectors with hundreds of thousands of values. And for us, it's impossible for us to visualize what that might be like. But computers can actually handle those spaces quite nicely. So when you feed something into a vector database and you create vectors out of them, you might have a sentence, for example, the dog barked, and it may be a vector that looks a little bit like 0.12, negative 0.98, 1.34, and so on and so forth, all the way up to the number of elements in that vector. And then you might have a similar sentence, the canine woofed, and it's going to be very, very close in terms of the values in that vector. So basically, you have your input, a paragraph. It's converted into an embedding, a vector. It's stored in that database, and at query time, user input is also converted into a vector. So when you go to ChatGPT and you type something in, one of the reasons that it takes a little bit of time for it to send back a response is that OpenAI at that point is turning your query into a vector using the same embedding tool that they use to create that large language model. And then once that's converted into a vector, it compares using distance metrics to the stored vectors and looks for similarities. So, for example, king, queen, prince, princess are all really similar concepts, and they're close in distance to one another. But banana would be right off the scale. It's completely different. And as an aside, the whole term embeddings actually comes from mathematics and manifold learning. In math, an embedding is a way of mapping one space into another, and hopefully it's a simpler space to make, while preserving structure, to make things easier to understand. So practically speaking, how does this end up fitting into a system? So what we have here is step 0, right up at the top there, the raw data. You load your raw data into a vector database, and you use an embedding generator to create those vector embeddings that we talked about. And there are several available that are commercial, and then there are some that are open source. So OpenAI, for example, has some commercial tools that will allow you to convert to data into embeddings. But there are also open source, like Hugging Face transformers, that you can use as well. And once you've transformed your data into embeddings, the next step is step 1, and that's user input. That's us putting something into the system. It could be in ChatGPT. It could be in your command line if you're using Claude or whatnot. But you basically are putting that input into the system, and then that question or that statement or whatever it is that you're putting into the system is converted using the same embedding model used to embed those documents. The third step is that is a search of the vector database using that query embedding, and then it retrieves. Step 4 is retrieval of those relevant chunks, and then you take all of that stuff and you send the retrieved content plus the original question to the large language model, and the large language model generates a response. Grab a little card, it will catch you up. Well, both, but the little card is the more important one. Go ahead and go to the bit.ly link and follow the instructions there. Okay, so if you end up skipping that embedding phase plus the retrieval, the large language model can only deal with the stuff that you that was originally put into the large language model. And the reason that RAG works is because it grounds the large language model with retrieved relevant context, that input that you provide to the model. This chart describes the infrastructure that's set up behind the amazee.ai private AI provider module. There are 3 stacked tiers. One is AI applications. In this case, it's DrupalAI. The one below it shows a Kubernetes layer with a large language model proxy, vector DB proxy, and the amazee.ai UI and API. And then the bottom has the infrastructure that includes the large language models, the service layers, etc. Up top, like I said, is the Drupal with various DrupalAI modules, including the provider module available. And when the module is installed, it uses both the OpenAI API standard and the Postgres API standard. There are a couple of reasons that we've done it that way. The biggest is to make it easy for people to swap out if they decide they hate us, making it easy for you to just use a different model, a different provider if you want. There's several things that happen when you install a module and you configure it with your email address and desired region. The first is that the services are provisioned in the region that you've requested during setup. And everything is kept private. So it's not like it's getting sent off to Anthropic or OpenAI or anything like that. Everything's kept in a private repository that isn't logged. And then the second thing is that an API key is created to access those services, and the module is set up to automatically put those key values into the key module for you, so you don't have to think about any of that. Then the proxies speak to the large language models and your vector database. Both the large language models and the GPUs that are made available are there as a service. So it's basically a 2-minute process of installing that module when you use it. And it has a whole lot of infrastructure and code going on in the background, even though it's open source. And we do similar things outside of Drupal, like bespoke solutions, private chat assistant, abstract access to the API endpoints that you could use, for example, in your code editor if you wanted to do that. So what can we do with AI in Drupal? Turns out there's a heck of a lot. So for example, you can generate, categorize, or translate content. You can adjust the tone or the style of content. You can check content against specific compliance guidelines. You can automatically generate alt text for images. I suggest that you always double check what the large language model has generated. Always keep a human in the loop, because it can do bizarre things sometimes, but it can make things a little bit faster for you. You can do AI-powered content suggestions, so you can offer relevant content to users. You can do automator-driven prompt workflows, and we'll see a little bit of that when we do the workshop, because we're going to build an automator together. And then CK, you can do AI assistance in CK Editor, so you can leverage CK Editor's AI assistant to write, rephrase, explain, translate, summarize content, all within the CK Editor. You can do these things either in a manual way or triggered actions. So in manual, it would be you click a button, something happens. A triggered happens when something happens automatically based on the state of the system. And you can do things like conversational AI, so you can provide a chatbot if you wanted to assist and support your users. And that just sort of scratches the surface of what's possible. So I like to say that Drupal's AI advantage is that that the capabilities that DrupalAI have are best in class, especially when you compare it to other CMS platforms. And while other CMSs are offering AI integrations, isolated AI integrations, like some of the things we're talking about, content suggestions, image tagging, etc., Drupal's architecture allows for deep, customizable AI workflows that can go far beyond what the competitors are engaged in. And a key differentiator for us has been that there's been a focus on no and low code implementation for folks, making it easier for people like content creators or site builders to actually build things that work. We're empowering site developers, marketers, content teams to leverage AI without writing code. And all of this is fully integrated with Drupal. You don't need to stitch together third-party tools or duct tape APIs. It's all natively accessible through modules and the provider frameworks built within Drupal's ecosystem. And as far as I'm concerned, no other open source platform allows you to build an end-to-end AI-powered experience this fast. So with DrupalAI, you can go from an idea to a functional prototype in a matter of hours, not days, not weeks, not months, a matter of hours. And in fact, what we're going to do today is going to take all of maybe 15 minutes of the talk. Now, some of it's already been sort of sorted out and figured out. Some of that takes some time and some experimentation, but that's something that other open platforms just can't do. So if you're wanting to rapidly prototype with a client, this is the way to do it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull up those demo environments. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and pop into where we're at, and you would have filled out this guy, and you should be on a page that looks like this. So that everybody who wants to participate in this piece have this page. Anybody not?
I don't have a laptop.
Yours is still spinning up? Okay. I will wait just a minute.
Sure, stop over there. Or if he's gonna do it on the screen. Are you gonna do it on the screen?
I'm going to do it on the screen as well. All right. So what I'd like you to do is click on Login Now. That is going to log you into Drupal CMS instance as admin.
And I just want to wait until his instance is up so he doesn't fall behind.
How much of you mentioned this, there's a lot of this in modules or just in the core of Drupal?
So there's,
Separate them.
yeah, so they are modules. It's not Drupal core, so if you download Drupal core, you're not going to get this stuff. However, Drupal CMS 2.0, which is, it's all sort of weird at this point. Like Drupal CMS is Drupal core plus a bunch of already installed modules. But Drupal CMS 2.0 has a lot of this stuff already baked in. So if you spin that up, you're going to have a lot of this already available. Are we good?
You can just go ahead. I got it all along.
All right. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to Extend. And what I want you to do is filter on AI. And the most important thing in here is AI automators. I always, when I'm setting up a new system, will check off AI logging as well, no matter what I'm doing, because I want to be able to go to the watchdog if something goes horribly wrong and actually see what the error messages look like. Hopefully nothing's going to go bad during this demo, knock on whatever this material is, but hopefully everything will be fine. You'll see that already, like a lot of the AI stuff in this demo has been checked off for you. So the amazee.ai provider, Anthropic provider is not, LiteLLM AI provider is, OpenAI provider is, and so on. Once you've done that, just go ahead and click on install. Don't worry about the error messages at this point. This needs to be updated. And while this is installing for me, what I'll mention is that this instance for you will last for a week. So you've got a week to play with it, break things, and so on. All right, once that's installed, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a content type. So what I'd like you to do is go up to Structure, go to Content Types, and add a content type. We're going to call this content type Simplified Text. And go ahead, once you've done that, click Save and Manage Fields. And if I'm going too fast, stop me. I don't mind slowing down. And once you get to there, we're going to create a new field. The first field that we're going to do is you want it to be formatted text. Actually, there's one other thing that we need to do first. No, we've already done it. Okay, so we're going to do formatted text, and we're going to call this body. You want it to be text formatted long. Go ahead and click continue. And we want to allow the text format of content because we want to be able to have HTML markup in there, and go ahead and save that. Then the next one that we're going to do is create another new field, and this new field also is going to be formatted text, and in this case it's going to be called simplified title. Simplified title. Again, this one you can just do text formatted. Click continue. Again, allow content text formats, and go ahead and enable the AI automator at this point. When you enable the AI automator, you're going to get a slew of new options in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose the AI automator type of LLM text. That gives you a whole bunch of other options here. We're going to leave it on base mode. There are two modes there, base mode and advanced mode. Base mode allows you to use preset tokens on a single field, as opposed to the advanced mode where you need to enter the tokens yourself. If you were going to do multiple things in your automator, you might want to use advanced mode and replace those tokens in your prompt manually. The automator base field is going to be title, and then I need you to go to your Google Doc, and in the Google Doc, the first thing that you're going to want to choose is the simplified title prompt. That's a gist. And you just need to go ahead and.
Is that from the script of the demo?
Yes.
It says I do not have access to this file.
You don't. Okay.
That's the first thing.
That's.
Oh, I was looking at the bottom of the bottom. I still have access to it.
You should. It's like wide open. You grab that from the little card. Okay.
Yeah, I got that one. I was trying to click on the one at the very bottom of the.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll make sure that that's opened up by the time you get down there. Okay, so I want you to go to the first gist there and just copy it. And when we get to the next one, we'll just actually go through the prompt and talk a little bit about how to write a good prompt. But in this case, let's just copy this one and then go back over to your demo and paste that prompt into the field there. And then go down to advanced settings. And you want to leave the automator worker at direct. And the AI provider, you want to change to amazee.ai. You can leave the model as chat. In this case, that's actually Claude 3.5, and it's good for automator stuff like we're about to do. And then temperature. Temperature is an interesting one. So I don't know why the Drupal community decided that the sampling temperature would be 0 to 1, as opposed to something bigger than that. But never mind, that's fine. The higher the temperature, though, the more creative. And the more likely you're going to get hallucinations. So the temperature is at 1, you could get some pretty wacky results. So generally I put my temperature at either, for this kind of thing, either at 0 or 0.1. I'm going to put it at 0.1. Now, why would you want things to be a little bit more creative? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Massive content generation. So you don't get hit with duplicate content.
Yeah. One thing that I like to sort of use as an example is, let's say you're building a system to write children's stories. right? And you want the kids to go into a field and just type in a few things and have that generate a children's story for them. You probably want the large language model to be pretty creative in those instances, right? You probably want the content to be a little out there. So anyway, temperature, in a case like this, I leave it pretty low. All right, go on down, and on the text format, we want to also use content. Go ahead and save that. And we are going to go through this again. We're going to create a new field, formatted text long, and in this case, it's going to be simplified body. Click continue, and then we're going to go down. We're going to allow the text format of content. We're going to enable our AI generator, automator rather. Again, choose LLM text. Again, we want to leave it on base mode. In this case, the base field will be body because we want it to refer back to the body when it's doing its simplification for us. And we're going to go back over to the document, and we're going to go to the second gist, which is simplified body. Simplified body. Before we, and you can go ahead and grab that. What I'm gonna do though at this point is I'm going to go through this prompt and just talk a little bit about prompt engineering. In this prompt, there are 6 sections that I've written. The first I call instructional intent. So it says rewrite the main body content between context delimiters. That's refers to the token that we're talking about. For a general audience at a 6th grade reading level, preserve all key ideas and logical flow, but simplify vocabulary and sentence structure. Ignore the field called title. What this does is it defines the task clearly and concisely. It sets up a clear reading level for accessibility. It narrows the AI's focus by ignoring unrelated fields. And trust me, Claude will try to go into unrelated fields unless you literally say, don't do it. It'll encourage consistent output and reduces ambiguity, and it keeps the model's attention where it belongs. The second section is field-specific instructions. So I'm saying rewrite the body into 8 to 10 paragraphs using simple language. Save this to field simplified text body. Now, the reason that this is numbered is if I was doing multiple things in this prompt, I number them for the large language model, so it understands that these are separate, individual, field-specific instructions. And in this case, if you had multiple tasks, it would break those tasks into subtasks. It sets clear length and field mapping expectation. It ensures output is aligned with Drupal field structure, and it allows for the declarative instruction designed for AI clarity. Then the third section is formatting constraints. And then I've got here requirements. For the body, you may only use these 3 HTML tags. If you don't tell the large language model to do that, it will do all kinds of crazy things.
One quick question on that. We tell it to generate 8 to 10 paragraphs, and then we don't allow it to use the P tag.
Mm-hmm.
Does it?
It handles that fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, probably the CK editor probably like put them in.
Well, I'm not sure whether it's CK editor that's doing it, but it could be.
It converts line breaks to paragraphs.
Yeah.
But I have a question. Does this work with inputs from like web form?
So webform is not, as of at least a month ago, webform was not AI aware yet. I know that there are people that are working on that.
I don't necessarily mean to have AI work on web form. I mean to have web form feed into AI.
You need to.
The reason why I'm asking is because you said, okay, we're writing a children's story here.
Yeah.
Right? When I was little, like one of my favorite books that I had was a book that my mom she filled out a form with like my name, my birthday, and then that was I got a little book in the mail.
Yep.
Right. So like that had like my name in it, and like
kinda like
my
Madness.
birthday, and things
Yeah.
like that. So if that could be, if you could feed in to your prompt
Yep.
variables from web form, like is that possible?
You'd need to use ECA for that, and you can. It's just way more complicated than what we're doing today.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay. So then the fourth, we were just starting the HTML tags. What we want this for is to restrict formatting for front-end safety. It prevents overly complex or invalid HTML and ensures the AI outputs content that renders properly in Drupal. Then the fourth section is structured output format. So I say output only valid JSON array structured like this, and I give it an example of exactly the way I want it to spit out that JSON. This enforces precise format expected by the automator, encourages valid and structured output, and it prevents parsing errors and post-processing headaches. The fifth is what I call suppression of noise. And I say, do not include any explanations, markdown, or extra commentary. Claude really likes to tell you what it's done because it wants you to validate it. It wants you to make it feel like it's a good little LLM, right? So if you don't put something like that in, it'll go through and it'll say, I've done all your instructions, and it'll throw it at the bottom of your of your content, and it'll list all the instructions that it's done correctly, which is maddening for something like what we're doing today. So this removes extraneous model responses like, here's your output, and it keeps the output clean and machine readable. Then the sixth section is context. This is the token that we're talking about, and at the bottom of the automator, it shows you what tokens you can use for the base automator mode, and there are just a couple that you can use. But what this does is it defines your input boundaries. It helps the model focus only on the content to be simplified, and it prevents confusion or unintended field usage. All right, so if we go back to our demo, and I need to grab the simplified body prompt and pop that in here. And you can see all that stuff that we're talking about is just listed in there. All right. And when we were talking about the placeholders, we were talking about those tokens. It tells you right here underneath which tokens are available for you. All right, then you need to go back into that advanced settings. Again, direct. Again, change that to the amazee.ai AI provider. Leave it as chat. Temperature of 0.1. And we want it to be able to use the HTML that we indicated that we wanted. All right, so go ahead and save that. We've built an automator, and hopefully, if we followed the instructions correctly, it'll work. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to prove that this works. And we're going to go up to create content. We're going to go to create simplified text. And then go back to the document, scroll down to the long and boring document. That's the tariffs article. And this is a paper that a friend of mine who is in economics doing his master's agreed that I could use for this particular application. It's long, it's boring. If you want something that'll help you sleep, this will help you sleep. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to copy the whole thing, and I'm going to go back over to the document. I'm going to paste this under the body, and I'm going to scroll up, and I'm going to grab the title and just pop it in there. Okay, let's hope the magic works. So we're going to go ahead and save this node, and if it works correctly, what it's going to do is it's going to take the title, it's going to take that whole body, it's going to turn it into a 6th grade reading level, give us 10 to 12 paragraphs, short, concise, and easy to understand, but shouldn't have changed the actual meaning of the document. We are running out of time. Okay, so in this example, we've got the original title, the original body, scroll all the way down to the conclusions, and the simplified title, tariffs, good or bad for the economy. And it has taken all that text, and you can see that it labeled it in simplified body for us. And we got 10 to 12 paragraphs with a conclusion, all down at a 6th grade level. So in about 10 minutes, we've built an AI automator in Drupal. Pretty cool, right? Okay, did it work for everybody? Yeah? All right. So I have to sort of speed up because I think I've only just got a couple more minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint presentation. And I don't want to play from start. I want to.
Reversed it on you.
Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna zoom through these. Come on. All right, normally what I'd do is I'd go into a group brainstorm at this point, but I don't think we've got time to do it using the AHA slide thing. So what I'd like folks to do is, like, does anybody have an idea of what they would like to, from this, what they would like to build using DrupalAI? Yeah.
Just a small knowledge base site.
Yeah.
The chatbot.
And if you download the latest version of Drupal CMS, there's actually a chatbot already integrated into it, and you can do some configuration changes on that.
I think it would be neat to be able to set up for clients where they put in their content and then it automatically generates suggested social media posts for them to use to promote their content.
Yeah.
But the concern with the way we set it up there is that everything is published and there's no human in the loop.
You can set it so it doesn't publish automatically. This is such a simple demo,
Right, yeah.
right? But you can put workflows in place that'll prevent that from happening. Yeah. Any other ideas of things that you could build?
Well, okay, I have a question related to the chatbot. So how do you, how does the chatbot understand, I guess, customer facing information? For example, like I have an e-commerce site, right?
Yeah.
One of my sites is an e-commerce site. So if I've got a chatbot, like how do I feed it, like the information about where to look for the customers, like order information or information about the products that are on the site.
So at the beginning of the session, we were talking about vector databases, and what you have to do is you need to convert that data into vectors in a vector database. And one of the things that the provider module that we're using right now, the amazee provider module, allows you to do, it sets up a vector database for you, so you don't have to go off to Milvus or Pinecone and get a separate thing. It all comes with the meal. And if you set that up, you get 30 days for free to begin with. And if you decide that you want to go further and you're doing like stuff for Drupal, you can ping me on that card and I can extend that into a developer account. But basically, what you have to do is you need to ingest that content into the vector database so the chatbot has something to refer to.
Wait, how does it? I guess the question is how does it, take, just kind of I guess, product information or whatever, just kind of throwing going on the site. Yeah, how does that become something that's usable? Like that it understands is, and you kind of can put it into context.
So when you build a chatbot, you have basically like we did a prompt for this and an internal prompt for this. You get the ability to build internal prompts for your chatbot, so it understands the context and the kinds of things that you want it to do. So if you go actually back to the demo site, the AI demo site that we were at when we spun up the advanced Drupal skills, there's one that's called search.
Oh, it still hasn't, like.
Oh, it hasn't.
No, we're experiencing a brief delay.
Oh, check your email. I bet you it's actually spattered out the details in your email. No? Okay. Well, we can mess around with that together at some point during the camp if you want. But there's another demo there that's called search, and it'll show you how to do internal prompts that gives you the context and gives you the guardrails around what you want the chatbot to be able to do or not do. Other questions? Other ideas?
It's sort of a generalized question.
Yeah.
So this is more tailored towards site building in general for Drupal.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are using DDev. A lot of familiar with Claude Code.
Yep.
So using, say, Claude Code with potentially a Drupal MCP, connecting that to your site, what advantages would Amazee and DrupalAI provide that you wouldn't get with Claude Code, being able to access Drush, MCP, and the function calls? Because like you could go and do a lot of that. Granted, it's not like a no-code sort of thing, but you're still interacting with a chat prompt, and you can still go build a lot of those automations without having to use a lot of the extended modules.
So I've taken my Amazee key and I've put it into VS Code, and I'm utilizing that key as you would Claude Code or Cursor or whatnot. The biggest advantage is that it's entirely private, and the data is stored in the region that you're wanting it to be stored in. So if you're in a situation, as an example, where you want to be able to generate insights into for example, customer data, you probably don't want to throw customer data through Anthropic's API or OpenAI's API, because you don't know where that data is actually landing. You don't know where it's being processed. And in America, that's maybe less important than in Europe, but not much less important. I would never put personal information through any of those public services, and I would definitely not put client information through any of those through any of those public services. So that's the first advantage. The second advantage is that you get the vector database built in automatically. So if you're doing something that needs a vector database, you don't have to go off and grab a database from like Milvus or Pinecone, pay for it separately, and so on.
And what's the cost structure of DrupalAI? So like if you wanted to use, say, something like Anthropic, and so you're using another LLM that's apart from Amazee, so you have a cost of whatever you have, whatever plan you have with Anthropic. What would you be looking at with like DrupalAI?
Yeah, so for folks that are like you or me, I think it starts at like $20 a month or $30 a month, something like that. If you ping me or somebody else in the team, and you want to use a model that isn't available in the pull down, we can help you figure out how to get to some of the other models. Typically, and like I was saying earlier, if you're doing work that is going towards the DrupalAI initiative, so you're working on maintaining modules or helping build it out, give me a holler. I'll get you a developer account that never expires. Just don't use it in production somewhere, because that would be more than mildly irritating.
So we got another question. So I found that one of the biggest issues that that a lot of sites that I built suffers from is that the site owners are really lazy.
Yeah.
And like they don't want to like add new content.
Okay.
You know, even if it's like a blog. You know, like is there a way to just to say once a week write a bullshit blog and post it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, you could do that. I highly recommend you don't. You should always have a human in the loop.
Well,
should
okay,
always
so
have a human.
let's say that like they write it and then it goes into a
It could go into a queue.
into a content queue.
Yep.
Like so that's double checked by a person, but they don't actually have to bother to actually write the content.
Yeah, I mean you could do that for sure.
Where you just like like a list of general topics that can just like kind of like cycle through, and once a week, spit out a blog post.
Yeah, for
just
sure.
to kind of keep like the SEO, like.
You could, for example, create a list of topics in a vocabulary. You could put the general kinds of things that you want it to write about in the description of each of the terms in the vocabulary, and then you could set up a cron job to hit a random vocabulary term or in order or whatever, and generate a post. And leave it unpublished, right?
Or it's a kind of moderation queue.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm working on a site for a machine shop, and the guy doesn't. I mean, and I keep telling him, I'm like, look, you want SEO done, you need more content.
Yeah.
You can't, you're not gonna get anywhere with like a brochure site. Like 10 pages of this is what we do. Great, that's great, but you need more content. And he's like, I don't want to write it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. But if if you just read it and approve it,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how creative AI is going to get with that.
So it's really important to understand that artificial intelligence is not creative at all, right? It only can utilize what it's been trained on, period. End of story. If your client decided he wanted to do, or they wanted to do something like this, I would strongly encourage for part of your internal prompt to be a long example of their writing style. Otherwise, it is going to read like AI, and people can sniff AI content, AI generated content from a mile away. I think at some point or another, the SEO companies are going to start dinging you for content that is just AI generated, right? So you want something that actually has the tone or voice of the person that or the people that are writing that would be writing it.
That makes sense. I haven't it's just the idea that I was like as you were talking about it, I was like, well, maybe. Okay, that makes sense.
But you absolutely could do that. Any other questions? All right. Well, you all have my contact information. If there's something you want to talk about, feel free. I love this stuff. Love talking about it, and I'll see you around the camp.
Thank you.